Michelle and I are beneficiaries of that struggle. But in America and in South Africa and in countries all around the globe, we cannot allow our progress to cloud the fact that our work is not yet done.
Hello and welcome. I'm Vincent Makori and this is Africa 54. U.S. President Barack Obama, along with a huge contingent of world dignitaries and ordinary people, remembered Nelson Mandela today. For the latest on the memorial service, let's go live to Anita Powell in South Africa. Hello, Anita.
Hi, Vincent.
Yeah, indeed, a memorial service.
So what a day today in Johannesburg. Yes. It was amazing.
Mm-hmm. Yes, it was such a big thing.
We heard a number of tributes from major world figures, and also, yeah, it was an amazing ceremony. And we heard a number of tributes from major international figures and also people who knew Mr. Mandela personally. And the things that they said about him painted a picture of a man who not only changed the people around him, but also the world.
Over 30 years ago, while still a student, I learned of Nelson Mandela and the struggles taking place in this beautiful land, and it stirred something in me. It woke me up to my responsibilities, to others and to myself, and it set me on an improbable journey that finds me here today.
Nelson Mandela is at rest, his long walk complete. Let us now be guided and inspired by the spirit he awakened in all of us.
Indeed, Madiba was a great man, but was humble in all things. He saw his greatness not as a means to dominate or express a sense of superiority over the others, but as a means to make all men and women equal, so that their lives could be lived to their fullest human potential.
Great. So, Anita, indeed, the attendance was huge. Would you say it was as expected or way beyond the expectations of everybody?
I would say actually that the freezing cold and driving rain actually probably kept away a lot of people who might have liked to have come. The stadium behind me was about 2/3 full. That's maybe 60,000 people. But they were an enthusiastic crowd, and many of them said that they woke up at 3 in the morning just to come out here.
Well, now, this was a very somber and special moment, but we noticed that the country's current president, Jacob Zuma, received quite a few boos from the crowd. What was all that about?
That was quite a surprise. Not only did he receive boos, he received this signal. You know what that is, Vincent? That is the substitution signal for football players. So the people in the stadium were telling Mr. Zuma quite a clear message. They're not happy with him. It was quite surprising because people thought this was going to be a somber reflection on Nelson Mandela's life, and yet it turned political. But we mustn't forget that Nelson Mandela, at his core, was a politician. And so it's kind of not surprising that people would think of politics when they think of this event and Mr. Mandela.
Was there a sense, perhaps, that the ideals that Nelson Mandela stood for would, in a way, not be completely taken to the kind of place where the South Africans desire with his demise now?
That's a really delicate way of putting it, Vincent. I think the honest truth is many South Africans are really disappointed in Jacob Zuma. People are upset for various reasons. A lot of South Africans say the ANC hasn't delivered on promises made 20 years ago by Mr. Mandela and his party. They're upset about corruption. They're upset about high crime. They're upset that 26% of people in this country are unemployed. So there is a lot to be upset about, and it is surprising that people expressed it today, but it is definitely there. And I guess they just chose this venue to show that.
Very briefly, besides the speeches, there are other things that happened there at the stadium. Can you take us there a little bit? Tell us a little bit.
Sure. Well, It was many speeches by family members of Mr. Mandela, and then all of a sudden, a frisson of electricity went through the stadium. And at that moment, we knew that Barack Obama had arrived. That was without a doubt the highlight of the event. He gave a speech that was broad, that was historical. He compared Nelson Mandela to Abraham Lincoln, to George Washington, to he mentioned some of the leaders of the anti-apartheid movement in South Africa. He talked about his legacy. He talked about how it personally affected him and his wife, as we heard earlier. And that was really the triumphant moment. And I think that reminded South Africans why they came here today, to see this, to hear this, to be reminded of what this man did 20 years ago that was so special, that made this nation what it is today.
Well, thank you very much, Anita. Anita Powell, reporting live from Johannesburg, South Africa.